Hey everybody, what's up? And welcome back to the channel. And today, I want to talk about recording with a multi-track recorder versus using a DAW on a computer, and why I choose to record with a 16-track multi-track recorder over a DAW. Well now, let's get into this. Let's talk about it, and I'm going to show you guys kind of what I like to do and how I like to record when I'm recording. And the first thing is, I'm old school. When I first started recording music, I had a little 4-track with a cassette tape, and that's how we used to do it. And then we'd actually, after we recorded the songs on the cassette tape, we would take it out, and we had a what they used to call a boombox that had 2 dual cassettes, and we'd put the cassette tape in there and put a blank tape in the other side, and we'd hit record, and we would transfer it over there, and that's how we'd make our copies of our tapes back in the day. Very old school. But I've been using this 16-track recorder. I've had it probably since 2005, 2006, so it's pretty old. I mean, it's been around a while. It's a Fostex MR16 16-track recorder. This recorder you can actually mix, master, and produce a CD out of. It actually has a CD disc thing right here that you can put a blank CD in, and you can burn the songs that you record straight to a CD, and when it's done, it's a mastered CD, and there you go. And then you can go make copies. I have a copy maker right here that actually makes duplicates of it. So when I complete an EP or an album, I burn the first CD in here, and I just pop it in there and just burn copies. And that's how I produce my CDs. I do it all myself. But let's dive into this and kind of show you guys how one of these works. So those of you that are using computers versus this, this may be something you may want to use for something smaller, something quick, or something on the fly. Or you may want to try an old school way because it may be a little easier for you than doing it on a computer. Now, some people don't have laptops. You can't afford a bunch of laptops, but they still want to record. And when you do that, you got to buy the computer, you got to buy the DAW, then you got to buy plugins and all that extra yah-yah stuff. So, I mean, there's a million ways to skin the cat when you want to record. This is just the way I've been doing it for a long time, and I know it very well, and this is why I do it. So, first thing about this recorder, there is 16 tracks that you record on, which is really nice, and then you got a master level here. You've got effects send right here, so there's built-in effects in here, and you also have EQs built in there as well. This is an EQ pan right here, and then you have a stereo bus level right here. You also have reverb, you have room, hall, plate, and delay effects in there, and then you also have mastering effects, which are powerful, natural, and bright, which help with the mastering process of it. You can record up to 4 mic line ins at once, and you can either record, you can use mics, or you can actually use straight cables, 1/4-inch cables, whichever you prefer to plug in. Most of the time I'm recording by myself. I'm usually just using one here like this, and I just record each track individually unless I'm doing drums. And depending on how I'm recording drums, whether I'm using a program drum machine, which is this over here that I use for programming drums, or I'm using an actual drum kit, which is over there. If I'm using the real drum kit, I use all 4 of these, and I go mic up the drum kit over there, and I record straight to it. But if I'm using this drum machine right here, I will program my drums in there that I want to use, the drum tracks that I want to use, and then I just plug in straight with this cable right here, which will go plug in, if I unplug it right here, this cable plugs in right there, and then I adjust my volume here, and you can see the level screen right here, and then I will have my drums. And that's kind of how I do that. So there's pluses and minuses to either one depending on how you want to do it. For me, I learned this a long time ago. This thing does everything that I can imagine it does. It doesn't do, you don't have plugins, you don't have programmed drums that you have in it. Like, you know, you can buy a plugin on a DAW and buy a drum plugin, and then you can create all your drum beats, and that's really cool. But I have been using, this is the same thing. It's just not a DAW. I program drum beats. I really use touchpads, create my drum beats, create my different fills and everything, and then I program it in a whole sequence, and then I just plug it in and let it record it that way instead of doing it on the computer itself. And so it's the same concept. It's just done a little differently. I really love that drum machine. That's an Alias 18, I think is what it is. Yeah, that's an Alias 18. And it's phenomenal, and it's got a lot of great drum tracks already in there that you can use. But I use a mix of some of the ones that are already in there, as well as making my own depending on what I'm doing in the song. So it's really functional, and you do it in sequences, and you put it all together. So when you have slow parts, you can slow it down, speed it up. It's fully programmable and adjustable. crashes, everything. Anything you want to do, you can do on that, just like you can in a computer system. But what I like about this is that it's very simple. When I want to record a song, all I have to do is hit this button, and I have a song dialed up, and then there's a screen right here. Hopefully you guys can see in this camera, because I have this camera set up here. There's a screen right there, and in the screen you scroll down and it says song right here, and then you click on song, and then it brings you to your select song. Touch it again, and then go find a song. Now if you want to do a new song, you scroll all the way down and it says new song. You click on that, it'll bring a new song up, and then it'll put it in the screen. But we're actually going to pick a song so you guys can see how the tracks work. So we're going to pick School Days. So say this was just going to be a new song. I just touch that and hit the select song right there, select song. And once I select song, I go back and then back again. And once I do that, the song is right there. Now there's a little padlock thing right there, and that padlock is in there. So I've already recorded this song and it locks it in there so I can't mess it up. If you wanted to record again, you'd have to go in and hit the lock off so you could record again. But this song is pretty much done other than some vocals that is in there. And then the song is in there. It's ready to go. Now, if this was a song that we were starting fresh, we would go in and type the name of the song and whatever it is, and then we'd hit enter, and then it would bring it up in here just to explain that to you guys how that's going to work. So now what you do is you're going to record. So say we were going to put the drums in first, because I usually put the drums in on the first 2 tracks, depending on what I'm doing, or the first 4 tracks if I recorded it that way, and then I'll mix these drums down. If I recorded it with the live drums, I'll EQ it and I'll mix it down to one of these tracks when I'm done, and then I can open up these tracks again. But if I'm using the drum machine, I would just put it on track 1. So if I was going to put the drums on track 1, I would just unplug this here. I would plug it in here, and then what I would do is I would turn on my inputs, arm the track like that, hit my record button, and this record button is going to light up, and then when I'm ready to record, I make sure the count is on 0 right here, and then I hit record and play, and it'll start recording it. You want to make sure that you have your EQs adjusted, your pan adjusted. This is pan left or right. For the drums, if I'm doing a single track, I just put it in the middle. And then this is your effects send, however much effects. I don't usually do any effects on the drums. And then for me, I like the room on it, and then I like natural for the mastering, and that usually sounds the best as far as it goes. And then you're ready to go, and then you record that track, and as soon as you're done recording that track, you'll hit stop, and then you'll just turn all this off, and then you'll move to the next track. It's that simple. So I would have turned that on, I would hit play here, turn that on, and then boom, we would have been recording drums. And then once the drum's done, you hit stop, and then you can hit the rewind button, rewind it back, and then you can play it back and hear what you did. These are faders. The way these are designed, there's a line right here. Hopefully you guys can see in this camera. There's a line right here that shows you where you need to start the faders at. So when you're adjusting it for recording purposes, you always want to start where it's those multiple lines. So if we're recording track 1, we'd have all these down. Put that right there. Make sure your master's at the same level, and you can even take that one down, and then you would record across. And then once you go back, then you can adjust your levels when you're EQing it out, as you'll see when we do with this song, because this song has drums, it has dual guitars, it has bass in it, and it has a lead in it, and then it has vocals in it. So that's how simple it is to use a 16-track mixer to get it there. So say we got our drum track done, and then we want to do a guitar track. So same thing is same process as we would go to track 2. We would arm this one. We would plug in our guitar. We would mic up our amp, whichever we're going to do right here. You plug this in here. You run that to your amp if you want to mic it up, or if you're going direct in with like a pedal, like a Boss GT1000 or something like that, or even my Boss ME70. I can go direct in, and I have amps and cabs in there. You can plug direct in. You get everything set up. You turn it on. Arm your track. Arm your record button. Hit record and play. Start playing to your drum beat. Once you get done, you hit the stop button. Turn everything off. And then you can go back and play everything that you just did. And what's really cool is you do that for each track. And then say you want to multi-layer your guitars. All you have to do to multi-layer guitars with this, say I just recorded a rhythm track on 2, but I want multi-layered rhythms on it. I just go in here and I hit this button. I scroll down to track edit, and then I scroll down to copy and paste track, which is right there. You'll hit copy and paste track, and then it says protected because it's protected. I don't have the lock on, but it'll actually say which track do you want to copy and paste, and we will copy and paste it. We will say we want to copy track 2, and we want to paste it to track 3. So you'll put in track 2, track 3, you hit enter, it'll copy and paste it, and then it'll make it that track. So you don't have to play it again. You can literally just copy and paste it, and then you've got 2 rhythm tracks going. That simple. You don't have to keep playing again, and that's really awesome. I love being able to do that. You can also go in, and you can actually go in and go back and fix parts. Like you can actually go in and you can just say you messed up a note or something, and you can go in there and do what's called a punch in and punch out. And with the timer that's on the top of here, when you go back, there's a timer that scrolls on the top of here. You can literally find it down to the millisecond where you want to start from, and then you'll hit punch in, and that's A, and then you go until the end of where you want to play, and you hit punch in and B. And what happens is nothing is recording until it gets to that part A or B, and as soon as it gets to that, you play that part, and it actually punches that section back in, and it'll fix that section so you don't have to go back and play the whole song again, which is really nice. So this has a ton of features that you do, and these multi-track recorders, basically there's only a couple companies that are making them anymore because everybody's gone to the DAW and gone to the computer system, but I still love recording this way, and I'm going to keep recording this way until I can't do it anymore. I don't really have a desire to get on a computer, and you can get these, like you can buy, Tascam makes a really nice 8-track one for about $250. So about $250, and you can buy a recorder, and you can go start recording and have 8 tracks to record on. Now they make smaller ones. Tascam makes a 4-track recorder as well, but the 8-track has a little bit more to it. And when it comes to recording multiple instruments and stuff, it's better to have more tracks to work with. I've come to find that I really like the 16 tracks. I can work with 8, but 16 is like a perfect amount of tracks for doing a 5-piece band. And I really like it a lot. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys a rundown of kind of how I record and how I record music. And this is what I use. I use a Fostex 16-track recorder. I use a drum machine that's programmable. These are all touch pads here. So just like you would do on the computer and program it in there, I do the same thing with these pads in this system right here. And then once I get my whole track of drums program in there, I just plug it in here, and then I record it through, and then I play my guitar licks over it. And it's really cool. And I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to turn on my speakers right here. They're on. And make sure that you guys can kind of hear what one sounds like. So this is a track that we did. I'm going to have to adjust the EQs a little bit here for things. But this is kind of what you're going to get once you have it. A little loud there. So, but let's do some EQ in here. Got some drums there. Bass. Turn that up just a hair. All right there. So we're adjusting the levels now. So let's stop and rewind that. So when you go to rewind, if you guys look right here through this camera, you can see the numbers showed up right there. So to go back to the beginning, I just hold the stop button, rewind, and it zeroes it out. Now I'm adjusting these right here. I'm adjusting these levels right here so you can see it, because after you record it, you have to adjust them to get the right level. So we're going to hit play again. You hear the guitars. Let's push those drums up a little bit. You hear the lead. Now what we got here is we got one rhythm guitar we're panning left, one rhythm guitar we're panning right. We're running the bass in the middle, running the lead in the middle. We're panning vocals left and right with a little bit of effect. We're using the room and the natural. Hopefully you guys can hear that all right. I don't want to blow your eardrums out. And then if you're watching this camera, you can see how the levels are going right here. And you don't want them to peak out. You can see where the bass kind of touches a little bit. When that's doing that, you pull your bass down a little bit to get it from peaking out. Because that top line is kind of where you want to keep it down from. And that's it. You're listening to a song that was recorded in there and it's doing its thing. And you can play back through the speakers and you can adjust your EQs. Like we can pull the guitars out if we want to. Bring them back into where we think the levels need to be. Take the vocals out, put the vocals back. And what you do is you just keep EQing it until you get the levels right and it sounds pretty good, and then that's when you'll mix and master it. Put the vocals up a little more. Hopefully you guys can hear that pretty good. I don't want to crank it too loud and blow you out the door. But you can see up here on the top here that counter's counting forward. You can see your levels right here, so you can see the levels that they're at, so you can adjust your levels depending on what you need to adjust there. And that's it. Multi-track recorders are not that hard to use. I know a lot of people think that they can be tricky because you're going into a lot of menus, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And this one comes with a really nice book that explains things very, very well. So let's hit the stop button. Go back to the beginning right there. And there you guys go. That's the simple version of multi-track recording. That's the basics of how one of these works. They're really simple. Like I said, Tascam. It's basically Tascam and Zoom that are making them. And both companies are making some pretty good recorders. Zoom just came out with a really nice new 16-track one that has a touchscreen up here, which is actually really nice, that I've actually been looking at. And it actually looks pretty nice because I've been thinking about getting a newer one because this one I've had for a while. But this one does everything. I mean, there's so many things this one does that I don't even use when I'm recording that you can do. I'm a keep it simple, stupid guy. So I like to keep it very simple when I'm working with this and just, do good natural recordings. This thing works great. What's really nice about this is I can go back and fix things. I can do everything you could do on a computer, and it's really very intuitive is what I want to say. It's very easy to use. It's not very complicated, and like I said, I'm very old school, and I've been using this for a long time, and I know this, and that's why I haven't stepped up to like a computer DAW, because I really like this. And I'm not a really big fan of the plugins and stuff, because I don't want to do a plugin for my guitar and my distortion and things. I like hearing my actual pedals, and I like hearing my actual amps. Or I like actually using my Boss Multi-Effects pedal and going straight into it and using that. I don't really care for the plug-in type stuff, and that's just because I'm an old school guy, and this has been working for me for a very long time, and I want to keep doing it because honestly the computer stuff actually intimidates me more than this does, and that's kind of crazy. But this, I know that stuff is kind of crazy, and it can get really, really complicated, and this to me is very simple. I understand it and it works. So for you guys that are looking for something that may be a little bit easier, not as complicated as a computer, or you don't have a laptop that you can use, take a look at multi-track recorders, because they have them all the way down from little handheld ones that you can use. I mean, I'm actually recording right here. This is a Zoom Q3 that I've had for many years, and you can actually record that. That has a condenser mic in it right there, and it actually has a video camera on it. But they make ones that are 2 tracks and 4 tracks. They have really small ones that you can get there. I mean, they start at around $100, and you can go up from there, and you can still record some pretty good quality recordings. But if you want to get something that you can actually do a really great demo, if you guys are trying to record demos for your band, look at some of these multi-track recorders. Like I said, Tascam has one that is $150. It's a 4-track recorder, and my original band recorded with a 4-track recorder for many, many years, and you can do it and do it well. And it's not complicated, and it actually has little external mics actually on it as well. So I just want to do a video talking about multi-track recorders, show you guys kind of how I record, because this is what I do. I use this 16-track. I use this drum machine that I can program my drums in with it, and this does a start and stop, but with the drum machine, you have a beginning and end, so you can actually do your ends to your songs. So once you get this programmed in and you start that drum beat, when it gets to the end, it'll do the final hits and it stops. There's no having to hit a button to stop it. It automatically stops itself, just like if you were programming in a DAW. And so, not too expensive. This isn't that expensive. I don't remember how much those are, but they're not too expensive. This was pretty expensive back in the day. I don't remember what I paid for it because I've had it for so long. But this was like more one of the top of the line ones. And I love the fact that this has the CD burner in it, where I can burn, mix, and master that CD, and then I can make duplicates of it right here. I think that's really cool. So there you guys go. That's my video today. It's just a quick rundown of talking about multi-track recording and kind of how I do it and what I like to do. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you guys are interested in multi-track recording and would like to buy one of these versus using one on a computer, or do you prefer using a laptop or a big computer and stuff? Because the nice thing about these multi-track recorders, depending on which one you get, they don't take up a whole lot of room either. And the one thing I will say is that if you can swing it, at least get one that has 8 tracks or more, because you'll be a lot happier in the long run with it. But I love recording this way. This is what I do and how I do it. This is my whole recording station for my band right here. And this is how we record our EPs. And we've been doing it for a while that way. So tell me your thoughts. Tell me, would you prefer doing multi-track recorder like this, or do you prefer using a computer with a DAW, with plugins? I mean, what do you guys prefer? What do you like? What would you do? Do you like more a little old school and a little bit simpler, or do you want to be staring at the computer screen? I mean, there's a million ways to do it. This is just how I like to do it. So you guys tell me. I want some comments, some questions. If you guys have questions about multi-track recording, I'll be happy to answer them, because I actually know a pretty good bit about this and how it works. And it's really not that hard. So if you've been looking at those multi-track recorders because you don't want to buy a computer and do a DAW, because you really, if you're going to use a computer for recording, you need a separate one than one that you use for like getting on the internet and doing stuff like that. You need a computer that's specifically just for doing your recording and setting it up that way. So, and you can get most of these, like I said, you can buy a recorder. You can buy one that records 4 tracks or more they start about $150, and they can go up into the thousands depending on what you want to buy. But a really good, decent 8-track one is between $250 to $350 and somewhere in there. And even a 16-track one, you can get a nice 16-track Zoom for about $399. And that does everything. I mean, it'll do everything you ever needed, and you can mix and master and do a great album. Now, a lot of them don't have the CD burner. You're going to have to bounce it to your computer and then burn the CD that way. That's one of the things I really liked about this, is this was an all-in-one mix, master, burn a CD, have a master CD, and then I bought a CD burner to make my copies with and zip them out. So, and the CD burner at the time wasn't that expensive. So there you guys go. That's what I got for you guys. I hope this is a video that you guys check out. I hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, because it does help the channel, and we will see you on the next one.